The Hidden Driver of Excellence by Daniel Goleman. Focus is an essential text and a manual for learning how to increase awareness and attention span. Using a range of case studies, Daniel Goleman offers practical advice on adopting a positive mental attitude, training willpower, and ultimately leading more focused and productive lives for the good of ourselves and the planet. As you read or listen to this summary, your mind will probably wander 20 to 40% of the time, and this zoning out will affect what you remember. We'll check this at the end. The point here is that our attention is a scarce resource and that all of us could benefit from increased focus. Author Daniel Goleman is a renowned lecturer and former science journalist. In Focus, he explains how we're continually fighting internal and external distractions that make it difficult to concentrate on the tasks at hand. The Nobel-winning economist Herbert Simon predicted this in 1997 when he warned that living in the information age creates a poverty of attention. Not only do we struggle with constant internal and sensory distractions, but we also have to cope with the continuous stream of technology, which leaves us little to no time to reflect. This often makes it difficult to focus, especially when we need to complete tasks such as reading for meaning, thinking deeply, or communicating carefully. As Goleman says, we can often hopscotch or multitask, which negatively affects our well-being and our capacity to excel in whatever we do. In this brief summary, Goleman makes a strong case for the need to focus and build up our attention spans. And it's not just about self-improvement. It's also about paying attention and shifting focus towards the bigger picture, such as the sustainability of our planet, our own futures, and the futures of younger generations. Hence, he argues that it's not only about individual focus, it's also about entrenching the need for a collective focus. By explaining the neurobiology of different types of attention, how self-awareness underpins our ability to focus, and what we can do to strengthen our awareness at any stage of life, we're given guidelines to help us be more disciplined. Attention isn't a straightforward concept. We're continually told to pay attention, and this is because our minds tend to wander throughout the day. The point is that our minds are continuously moving between selective attention and open awareness. When we start a project, we're often advised to start broad and then narrow our focus. This same logic applies to our attention and awareness. Open awareness is peripheral and panoramic, and it allows different stimuli to move through our consciousness, whereas selective attention allows us to bring focus to a specific stimulus. The ability to consciously select an object of focus and our ability to sustain this attention is ultimately what helps us to learn. When we're distracted, there's a lot of mental chatter about all sorts of things unrelated to what we're doing. This makes it very difficult to retain information. Unfortunately, this sharp focus isn't like a stretchable balloon, it's more of a narrow pipe, which means that we can't just switch attention on a whim or sustain our focus indefinitely. On the other hand, open and spontaneous awareness is very different, but just as important. This panoramic awareness pulls us away from sharp focus, but can open us up to broad thinking. The open awareness of a drifting mind makes us receptive to different insights, breakthroughs, and novel solutions. This mode of thinking creates the ideal platform to then decide where to apply our focused attention. We often think that this is just mind wandering, but it can pull us towards something that we're trying to work out. It helps us to solve problems and to be creative. If you're always trying to hold on to cognitive control, you may have trouble switching easily to mind-wandering creativity. This could hinder self-reflection, social navigation, new ideas, and planning future scenarios. The systems involved in mind-wandering are particularly active just before a creative insight. Interestingly, adults with attention deficit disorder, ADHD, are particularly good at this kind of creative thinking. They exhibit very high levels of original creative thought and are generally more successful at creative achievements than those without ADHD. They do well despite their zoning out, or maybe because of it. Open mode attention also helps our interior focus. We notice our feelings, sensations, and memories with a panoramic awareness that we do not have when focusing on the shopping list. So the process is to be open to possibility and then apply a conscious focus to decide which insights to use and then to deliberately move from open awareness to narrow focus. Focus trumps IQ. Did you know that our ability to focus is a better predictor of success than our IQ? From the age of about 3 years, a toddler begins to develop what's known as executive attention. Executive attention is the ability to focus deliberately, to ignore distractions, and to halt impulses. This form of cognitive control is crucial for self-management, and it forms the core of willpower, which is the essence of self-regulation. Success is determined by how we manage our lives, and the interesting thing is that this is visible from early childhood. The Dunedin study, carried out in New Zealand, revealed that our willpower is our destiny. It's probably the most significant study on the contributing factors to success. Over a year-long study, just over 1,000 children were studied intensively during early childhood. Then, over 2 decades later, the research subjects were tracked down, and only 4% of the original sample were not reassessed. The subjects were then studied in terms of their overall health, wealth, and any criminal records. This data was then linked to the batteries of tests carried out in the earlier childhood study. The findings were fascinating and showed that those with higher self-control in early childhood were a lot healthier, achieved greater financial success, and were law-abiding citizens. It was also revealed that self-control is just as important as social class, the wealth of family of origin, and even IQ when it comes to later financial success and good health. Other studies have supported this, indicating that high self-control means better grades, positive emotional adjustment, good social skills, and adaptability. So, although we think that IQ is a key factor in success, focus is actually a much better predictor of overall intelligence and aptitude. The bottom line is that we need to work hard to increase children's self-control levels because this is a key factor in determining their future success. Instant gratification is everywhere we look, but let's take a lesson from none other than the Cookie Monster from Sesame Street. As his name suggests, the Cookie Monster is obsessed with cookies, but even he tries out new strategies for holding out on his favorite treat. For example, he may try to distract his mind from the temptation in front of him, or he may opt for delayed gratification because he realizes there are better cookies around the corner. These are important lessons, not only for children, but for all of us, and they've resulted in a growing industry. Brain training games, especially online activities, show promise in teaching us to focus. Some Silicon Valley tech experts are also developing what's known as calming tech, which can bring more balance to the online world. Calming technology includes apps with the aim of helping children to build their focusing skills. Meditation techniques for children are also growing in popularity, as are apps like Tenacity, which boost the capacity to focus. Goleman says that being able to stop on cue is the holy grail of cognitive control, and he offers some excellent methods to shift from bottom-up to top-down responses. Exercise your attention muscle. Developing the attention muscle of adults is also crucial, particularly when it comes to leadership. Interestingly, our different types of focus form a trio. First, there's inner focus, which helps us guide our intuition, values, and decisions. Then there's other focus, which allows us to form good connections to those around us. Finally, there's what's known as outer focus, which allows us to manage complex systems in the external world. You need to think of this trio as an equilateral triangle, because deficits in any of these can leave us either rudderless, clueless, or blind-sided. Some experts describe today's business leaders as being under siege. This is because success in any leadership position depends heavily on these 3 areas of focus and how leaders understand and balance the focus trio. Balancing the trio means prioritizing reflective time and being mindful of what we need, that is, focusing on our inner selves. Having a strong focus on others by way of other focus helps us to form good connections to those around us. Focusing on others also develops empathy. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to join our community. For more content like this, check out our other videos on the channel. And remember, your comments and feedback are always appreciated.